Hi everyone, it's Lisa with InkandInspirations.com. Thanks for joining me today. And this is the first in my 2016 Christmas cards ideas. Starting now, I'm going to share them on YouTube and on my blog once a week for the next several weeks. And I'd like to try to share some ideas that would be easy to mail. Okay, so this week we're going to start off with the Santa Sleigh stamp set and the bundle that comes with the Santa Sleigh framelits dies. And I've already done quite a bit of the work here, so let me show you what I've cut out. I've already stamped the tree, which I used here, and then the deer, or the reindeer, whatever you want to call him, there. And then I stamped the bow in cherry cobbler on cherry cobbler cardstock and cut that out with the die. And then this cute little wreath, let me show you. Here's the framelit, and you stamp the wreath onto, I stamped it onto old olive cardstock. I put the framelit down for the outline, and then in the center I put that, and it cut out the center so I could have a cute wreath to go around the deer's neck. Okay, so let's do some assembling. For the background, I decided to use some Whisper White cardstock, and I cut that at 3 3/4 by 5 1/4. And this is the card base that I had cut in a previous video from a 12 by 12 piece of cherry cobbler. It measured 12 by 12, so I cut them all 4 inches wide and then 11 inches long. So all I had to do was cut off 1 inch off the 12 by 12 paper, scored it at 5 1/2 in the center, and that's going to make our almost standard size card. So then I cut this piece of Whisper White to so it would have the the cherry cobbler border around the edge. So that's why this is cut at 3 1/4 by 5 1/4 rather than the 4 that I would normally use as that layer on the card. So I'm just going to use some multi-purpose liquid glue and go ahead and adhere that to the card front. Okay. I think I need to change my blade on my trimmer. Alright, so now I have this tree that was stamped in garden green on garden green's cardstock, and I am going to adhere that to the front. I can go ahead and do this, I'd rather, so that I don't lose the pieces. But if you were doing these cards, like say several of them or many of them to send as your holiday cards, you could do like all the stamping and cutting on one day and then the layer with the embossing on a different day, and it would go together fairly quickly, as you see here as I have all of this ready to go. So now I have the deer, and I'm going to take the wreath and just slip it around his neck, go over the ear, over the nose, and then I'm going to put a little dab of glue to hold it in place, just like that. Then I'll take the little cherry cobbler bow. Alright, and then I'll put that here. And then I can go ahead and layer him where he overlaps the tree just a bit. Oops. Got a little excited there. Alright, let me just put that down. So now I want to stamp a sentiment that's going to go across the top, and I have the Merry Christmas Wishes stamp and a thin strip, a 1/2 inch strip of crumb cake cardstock, and it is cut at about 3 1/2 inches. It's long enough for the sentiment, and I'm going to use garden green. And I chose crumb cake because I thought it would, the garden green ink would show up nicely, and it also brings out the color of the deer as well. Just a little, tie it all in. Okay, so let me line that up, and I'm going to center this and stamp. With photopolymer, it's good to have a cushion underneath. You notice I don't have my Stampin' Pierce mat, I have it's a stack of the grid sheets, so that works well for me. Alright, so now I have this, and I'm going to take my paper snips and just cut the ends like this in a V to make a little banner end. And so let's do this side. You can, if it's easier for you, you can cut up the center and then meet at an angle like that from the sides. And now I want to give that just a tiny bit of dimension. So I am going to get my bone folder and just run it across the back of the cardstock like that and give it a little curl. It kind of breaks the fibers in the cardstock. And then I'm going to justify that over to the right some because I'm going to use some twine on this side. So let me go ahead and get some liquid glue on here. And when you're gluing over an embossed piece, I find that either the liquid glue or the mini glue dots on each end, if you want this little bit of dimension, and there you go, popping up. So I need to hold that just a bit. Okay, now I'm going to take the coordinating baker's twine, this twine trio of cherry cobbler, garden green, and gold metallic, and I'm going to take all three of them at the same time, leaving them on the bolt and hoping they don't roll off my work area here. Let's see, here's gold, and then I'm just together, I'm going to tie a bow just like this. I like to make 2 bunny ears and then bring it on around, and then I don't want the loops too big, okay? I don't want to overshadow the sentiment, so I'm just going to pull those loops down and get it tight and keep adjusting like that, and then take my scissors and just trim it here. Okay, I can move this twine out of the way, and to attach it to the card front, I'm going to use a mini glue dot. So let's find one here, apply it just by putting the bow onto the glue dot roll, and I'm just kind of rolling it up in the back so it doesn't stick out, and I'm just going to put it at an angle like that. And I really love this card. I think it's cute. I love that deer. And in this set, the framelits, the sleigh is beautiful too. Now on the inside, I have a piece of Whisper White again, cut at 3 3/4 by 5 1/4, and I just used my garden green to stamp 2 trees and the other sentiment that goes well on the inside of the card. And I'm just going to put a few dots of liquid glue and apply that to the center. And there we have a Christmas card made. Okay, I hope you like that idea. If you have any questions, please let me know. Visit my website at inkandinspirations.com to see the details for this card, and I will see you again soon. Take care. Bye-bye.